Really smacking that bass, Mr. Redden. Welcome in. This is Tom.
Mike.
AM.
In the PM.
HUDRadio.com. We're live from the BMW of Atlantic City studios. We're right here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. BMW Atlantic City. We're off exit 17 in the Parkway. Find them online. BMWAtlanticCity.com. Every Wednesday night, we are brought to you by our certified public accountant. Make them yours. Find them on the web. GibsonMayor.com. That's GibsonMayor.com. It's tax season, ladies and gentlemen. Get started. Get your taxes in. Don't be like myself and wait till the last minute.
Got about, what, 2 weeks?
2 weeks. I'm an extension guy. Extend me.
Why am I not surprised?
Let me the government wait. They're crumbs. I'm going to make them wait for every penny they want. Every penny, because they're always going in my pocket. It's never, hey, Tom, here you go. Let me give you a little something back for your hard work and effort. Never. They don't care. It's a joke.
Look, I'm a business owner. You got to hook a brother
Hook
up.
a guy up, a small business. You think they take care of you? I thought, voting for Trump in, that it would help me out a little bit. Well, we'll see.
Maybe that was, your mistake.
I didn't vote. I don't vote. That's why I don't get into politics and bitch and moan about it, because guess what? My vote means absolutely nothing.
Squata.
Let me clarify this for the people. Your vote, they can tell you it means everything. We've learned. And we might have learned the hard way with certain situations, but they can stuff ballots real easy. You see it in all-star voting all the time. All right, politics not much different.
I like how you brought that back to sports.
Well, because we got to get into it, right? We got a lot of fun things we'll talk about tonight. Sixers tank. Did they end up winning tonight?
No.
Good. We'll talk about that. Do you want them to lose the rest of the games? Where do you stand with the Sixers? We'll talk about that as the show goes on. And for all our Sixers faithful out there, we want your opinion on that as well, because I did see in groups today that there's no such thing as throwing games away or losing a game late in the season. Like you don't just lose games on purpose. No win's a bad win. And I'm like, stop it.
Did you watch the last 2 years?
Yeah, no win's a bad win. There's a lot of bad wins. Beating the Nets is the worst.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the worst organization in all sports.
I mean, I understand that there's all these people that are like, we won 10 games last year, so we want to get to 30 this year, so we can say we tripled it. I don't care.
Yeah. How many playoff wins did
you won, what, 18 2 years ago and 10 last year? You've already equaled that total for the previous 2 years. That's good enough for me. No more wins.
Yeah, it does nothing for you but hurt you. At the end of the year, tonight was a perfect example of what you should want out of the Sixers. You should want them to play a good, competitive basketball game, but lose it in the end.
Exactly.
That's exactly what you want. Competitive.
I want to see Sarge drop 25, and then that's it.
Lose. Tank. I'm so tired of the word tank, and I'm also tired of talking about next year's draft. But we'll talk Sixers as the show moves on. We'll take a deeper look into the Phillies roster. Who's making the opening day ball club? Obviously, less than a week away. Monday we get rolling. Baseball's back, baby.
I gotta tell you though, Tommy. I kind of like how they did it this year though, where they started paring it down real early, so that Pete has maybe four or five games worth of just his roster, so that he can kind of get the feel for it and doesn't have other than minor league pitchers that they bring up, a la Jeff Singer today, he doesn't have a lot of spare parts hanging around, if you know what I mean.
Sing. It's good for Sing Sing to get in. He deserves it, and that's good. Getting in, shutting it down like he did.
Yeah.
Win-win there, right? So
Beautiful.
that's exciting for that kid, working his tail off and getting a chance to pitch, We'll
get into that.
Yeah, maybe in his, last big league game of the spring, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see how all that plays out as we move on. We'll talk Phillies, their roster, and just, where do we think the 2017 season goes? We'll give our early predictions. Not even that early. I think it's time to go.
No, I think this is the prediction that means the most.
This is the one we're going to. Hey, Sean, that's what you said.
Yeah.
All right.
This is the money shot.
You said 75. They won 85. All right. Talking about predictions and how it's like assholes. Everybody has one, and the perfect example of that is the NCAA tournament, gentlemen. Because brackets were busted. If anybody tells me that all 4 teams remain in, I'm going to tell you,
that's what I said.
I
said flat out lie.
There's nobody in the country that had that Final Four.
Nobody. Now maybe 2 of the 4, I'll buy into that. If you had Gonzaga, North Carolina, I'll buy into that one. Them 2 being in there, but if you,
I could even buy into 3 of the 4. I could buy into North Carolina, Oregon, and Gonzaga.
Yeah, nobody at South Carolina unless you're a Gamecock
Unless
fan.
you're there, yeah. Unless you're a good student.
Even if you are, you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Regardless.
But if you do, there's no way you got the other 3 either.
No.
Not happening.
One or the other.
Yeah.
One or the other. So we'll talk
it's
about
the first year ever that I don't have any.
Really?
Yep, I didn't have a single Final Four team.
It happens.
I got one left. I got Carolina left.
I got one as well, Carolina, and not the South one. Kent, South Carolina, number 17, continue their Cinderella story. So we'll talk about that. Can Oregon, number 3 seed, continue their dramatic run when you talk about losing their big men, in the Pac-12 playoffs and tournament and all that, and rebounding and getting hot at the right time and making a run. But, against this North Carolina team, it's going to be a little uphill sledding, in my opinion, for the Oregon Ducks. But we'll talk about that.
Hey, Tommy, real quick, I just wanted to throw something out here because, we talk like zero women's sports on this station, but there's a little bit of a Philly connection here. So I wanted to kind of get into this with South Carolina. Only the 10th school in history and only the 13th time in history that the men's team and the women's team have made the Final Four in the same year. Connecticut's done it a bunch of times. I think the last time they did it was 2014. I think before that was 2004. And then after that, it kind of goes way back. But the South Carolina women's team, coached by Dawn Staley, who's a Philly product.
Yeah, a little Temple point guard.
Played her ball at Virginia, came back, coached at Temple.
Don't question my ball knowledge, FYI, because the fact that I even knew where a woman basketball player went is a joke.
Well, she didn't go to Temple, so I will question.
She didn't go to Temple?
No, she played at Virginia. She coached at Temple.
I'm in the ballpark. Damn it. I'm out.
But this is her 5th Final Four appearance. She had 3 as a player at Virginia and her 2nd at South Carolina as a coach. So, big chore ahead for them because, Connecticut's won something like 180,000.
I think this year will be 4 years in a row without
it's
a loss.
like 180,000 wins in a row or something like that with Connecticut. And obviously with Gino Auriemma, they have the Philly ties as well. But shout out to Dawn Staley and South Carolina. And, it's a great story if South Carolina can pull it off, at least one of them. I would have to say that the men probably have a better shot than the women just because
they're going
of the Connecticut factor. But, hey, you never know. So, it'll be real interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, it would be.
And I dig Frank Martin.
Former, he was a former bouncer at a bar. I mean, how can you not dig that? A guy threw guys out, knows how to deal with drunks. I mean, it's a winner in my book.
I love the quote. He's like, working hard to get to the Final Four, that's nothing. I had to ask my wife out 6 times before she went out with me. That's hard work.
And he has a lot of respect, too, around the coaching circle because Roy Williams actually had a quote before the tournament started about South Carolina and their success. No, I'm sorry, it was after South Carolina beat Duke. And Roy Williams said that he was meeting with a kid who's South Carolina's point guard now, the freshman. Mm-hmm. And he said he told that kid, the coach you just met with, is the best man you'll ever meet. And then Roy Williams said he stopped pursuing him after that.
Wow, that's awesome. They also have one of the better name guys, Cindarius Thornwell.
There you go.
I like it.
I would roll off of Mark Zumoff's tongue.
No, it would.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, that's great.
Our poll question brought to you by Scanzano Sports. You can find them on the web, scanzanosports.com. Who will win the NCAA men's basketball Final Four championship? South Carolina, Gonzaga, Oregon, North Carolina. Let us know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. A2D Radio is where you can find us.
So let me ask you guys a reverse of the Twitter question to get into this the discussion. Out of those 4 teams, is there any one of those that you can't see winning it? Because for me, the answer is no. Like I could actually see any of those 4 teams.
One.
I would go with Oregon.
I would go with Gonzaga.
Really?
I'm not sold. I'm not sold. They played nobody through this little run. I think South Carolina gives them a run for their money. I think South Carolina beats them outright. I really do. I think that's an outright win. I know they're tough. I know they play good defense. I know, they're number 1 in defensive efficiency that's left in the tournament. But guess who's number 2? That's South Carolina. So I look at that as a defensive matchup, and I think South Carolina can put the ball in the bucket more. I think they're more athletic, and I think that's going to cause an issue for Gonzaga, who's not. I just don't see it. I don't see the playmaker. Now, are they loaded like we talked about before we even came on? All 4 of these teams are heavy upperclassmen loaded. Mm-hmm. Okay, their upperclassmen are leading their team.
No freshman sensations left in the Final Four.
No freshmen or even sophomores that are leading their teams. Right. It's all juniors and seniors that are leading. Yeah. Now, for South Carolina, are there sophomores playing? Yes. For North Carolina, is there freshmen and sophomores that play? Yes. I get all that. For Gonzaga, no, besides Collins,
Right.
who was the only McDonald's All-American they have on their roster. Besides him, it's all upperclassmen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you look at that matchup of South Carolina and Gonzaga, from what I've watched in this tournament, tell me how Gonzaga does win that game. That's what I want to know. I mean, obviously, they got to get done defensively. That's their MO. But I just don't. Now, for me to say I don't see it, obviously they can beat him. This other tournament's all gone. I just think when you're hot as, and not because Gonzaga's not hot, but when you're on a roll like South Carolina, now is a week off hurt you a little bit. Now every team that's here is on a roll. I get that, but just the way they played, the way they've won basketball games, they're paying a team from nowhere. This is an SEC school now. The SEC has been ridiculed and criticized throughout men's basketball for a while for being cupcake-ish. Mm-hmm. Well, from what we saw in this tournament, they're far from it. Mm-hmm. And obviously them getting knocked down in the SEC tournament isn't a knock on them at all from what we saw in the SEC. Right. So I look at them as, when I was saying to somebody earlier, that they're a powerhouse school in terms of all their sports. They're powerhouse. Yeah. They're a legit Division I school. When I look at Gonzaga, it's transfer.
Yeah.
But it's all transfers. Mm-hmm. Look at their roster. And they said it on the telecast all throughout it. A guy from Washington's a transfer. Another guy from Mizzou's a transfer. Everybody's transferred in. Now, does it work for Mark Few and what they do? Yes. Now, does it work for winning a national championship? We're gonna let us know.
Right. And here's the thing with Gonzaga. I mean, 36-1 overall. 17-1 in the West Coast Conference. Now, granted, it is the West Coast Conference, so there's maybe one or two other tough teams in that conference, and after that,
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's is pretty much it. So, they've kind of steamrolled their way through the tournament, and I get that. But if you look at the way Gonzaga does it with balance. I mean, they have, I believe it's 6 guys that average 8.5 or more points per game, 5 guys that average double figures per game. But they don't have that 1, 20, 21, 22, 23-point scorer. But the bottom line is, if they're not hitting threes to open up their inside game, they're in trouble.
No, big time.
So, and what is South Carolina's strength? Perimeter defense. So if South Carolina can defend the perimeter and take away that 3-point shot, and then, kind of, it's almost, you're going to decide, what are you going to give Gonzaga? Are you going to give them the inside game? And if you're going to give them the inside game, then you're going to have to outscore them inside as well. So if you could take away their 3-ball and you give them the inside game, then you got a shot. And I believe you got a good shot.
Yeah, Linda Garofalo, Gonzaga, chiming in on her Facebook. My buddy Jeff Gleese wants to know how far the Jays go. He's massive. The Jays go all the way, Jeff Rowe. They go all the way. As far as you want them, Jay.
I mean, here's the thing, though.
I can say some things. I can say some things how far they go, but I'm gonna keep it clean.
But you look at Gonzaga's inside game. I mean, you got Williams Goss averages 17, and Karnowski, who looks like he's about 37 years old, by the way.
My favorite player.
Winningest player in NCAA history as well. So,
but he averages 12.
Him and Perry Ellis.
So Perry Ellis, great name. But I mean, their inside game averages 29 a game, and even if they double that, and you put up 58 inside, if you're not hitting the 3-ball, I mean, South Carolina's going to run you off the floor. That's just how it is.
Yeah, when you talk about Thornwell, I mean, he's had a special tourney, and when you're a senior and, it's all riding on it, I just like to take them guys. I really do. And Goss, when I look at Goss and Williams, and Matthews, that's really where they're athletic at. But besides that, it's hard for me to find. I mean, I feel like it's matchup nightmares for Gonzaga in this basketball game. I mean, who's stopping Thornwell through this tournament? Nobody has. And who's matching it up? Now, this is a defensive loaded team. They probably can get it done, but
and that's what I was going to say. The flip side of that whole thing is, can they shut down Thornwell? Do they go box and one on Thornwell and just have somebody D him up? Because if you can shut down Thornwell, if PJ Dozier or Dwayne Notice can't get it going, that's a problem. The crazy thing right now is that line opened at 5, and all of the money was going to South Carolina. So, I mean, right out of the gate, you see Vegas. I mean, how many times have we said it? Vegas knows what they're talking about. Yeah. All the money, all the money is smart money. So if the line opened at 5 and it keeps coming down because all the money's going to South Carolina, certainly, at least for me, more than a puncher's chance.
When the money's going South Carolina's way? Oh, yeah. I mean, as a bet man, you sort of say, well, I'm going to
follow the money.
Follow the money, or you go the opposite way.
Right.
Well, too much money's going South Carolina. Well, Vegas is in it to make money, too. Maybe Gonzaga's the pick. Now, I've been wrong all goddamn tournament, so stay far away from me. And I've been Mr. Teaser, too. Mr. Redden, I'll take 6. You want to give me 6? You want to give me a 14-0 lead? And every way I went, and you know how it is, game. But every way I went, it went the other way. I'll go, I'm going to take the points up in this one. Oh, okay, they get rolled. I'm gonna take the favorite down like Duke. I'll take them down to a straight win. Got burned. I mean, I can go through it. I got text messages to Mr. Wilson just rolling losses out. I'm rolling losses. I didn't lose so much in my life. And guess what? I thought that I had the advantage because I didn't watch a ton of college basketball this year.
Right.
The 1 year where I just didn't have time to watch a ton of college basketball. But when the tournament started, I was locked in every game. So I thought, maybe I got an advantage coming outsider, essentially looking in this year. I'm not dissecting as much. Well, as soon as 2 games went off, 2 rounds, I was meant to dissection. I don't expect being an asshole.
You were the doctor.
Yeah, their offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency. None of it worked.
Actually,
none of it.
All the stuff I said before the season,
right?
I think there's one team from them notes when I was talking about offense, defense efficiency, who were the top. UNC's the only one left.
Yeah.
So the only one that Oregon might have been. I would have to relook, but it was funny because Louisville, Kentucky, all them teams, Nova,
right,
who was a big, offense, defensive efficiency, tops in the country, all knocked down. To your point, Sean, when I saw you put on Facebook the other day, I know Mike agrees with this too. That's a bad matchup. The Big Ten had a bad year, but they're still the Big Ten.
And you saw when it got to the tournament, though, Wisconsin went to the Sweet. Michigan made a run.
Well, big men, man. I mean, I think
Northwestern. Might have got robbed.
Wisconsin rightfully was not a 7 seed.
No.
And I'm not trying to make excuses.
I hate Nova. I hate Nova.
And Wisconsin was not a 7 seed.
The number one team in all the country. I hate Nova. Let me clarify again. I do not like Villanova. I'm not from the main line. I don't party on the main line. I don't talk to mainliners, if that's how you even call them. None of that goes here. In no way, shape, or form, when you're the number 1 overall seed in the country, should you not be listed in that bracket as a number 1 seed.
Right.
They all want to send you to different locations. Well, I want to keep them close to here or this team close to here. Dude, 1 through 64, your best teams.
Rank them, yeah.
1 play 64. Real simple. And then if you match up your brackets like that, it will be, in my opinion, to make for cleaner, maybe not cleaner brackets, but I think your big dogs will get out.
Well, actually,
if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's really funny that you said that because when we all did our brackets for the station and everything like that, and the site that we used had a maximum of 2.
Yeah.
Or our internal competition had a maximum of 2. But that same site, I did another bracket challenge on that same site, and there was an option on there to autofill your bracket, and you could just autofill the bracket by taking the higher seed in each game. I shit you not. I did that in one contest. Right now I'm in the top 15,000 in the country.
Probably, yeah.
Just by autofilling with the higher seed for every game.
Yeah.
And my other 2 brackets are absolute shit.
Because you got Gonzaga and Carolina came out, and that's when it matters. As you get
Oregon's a 3 seed, so obviously the only ones missing out of that region are the 1 and the 2. Mm-hmm. So it's the East with South Carolina as the 7 that kind of screws everything up. But hey, they're a fun story.
Right, real fun story. Mm-hmm. And I think when you talk about 3 to 4 fun stories, 3 to 4. I mean, Carolina's the only one on chalk where you say you believe them to be there.
Well, I picked them to be there in the rematch with Nova.
You know what bothers me? Even more. They should be 1 through 64 ranked out and make it simple, but I'm tired of people rooting for the underdogs in this tournament. Why do I want to see Middle Tennessee and Florida Gulf Coast play more than one time? Why do I want to see that? What good does that do for me?
That hurts me because I love me some Florida Gulf Coast.
I like the upset now every now and again, but when I'm talking this tournament, I want the best still playing.
Right?
I want to see. I want to see
for the
Fox and
Kentucky,
Monk.
see matchup.
I want to see Fox and Monk still play. I want to see Nova with Hart and Jenkins and them guys trying to win another one. I want to see if it's Dookies, right, with Tatum. I want to see Tatum play more. You know what I mean? It's a chance where these guys get to put on a show, and us as viewers we almost get punished a little bit.
We do,
and in a way, not a bad way. But everybody. I want to see all these upsets. No, I almost want chalk.
I want to see the best teams play each other. Yeah,
and
that's what I was looking forward to when the brackets came out. I was like, all right, the Elite Eight, Duke, Nova, like that's an intriguing matchup. Grayson Allen, Josh Hart, Kennard, Jenkins, guys like that. But then you knew they weren't making it past Wisconsin, though.
That was tough. I mean, it's interesting because last year, at least for me, like I just had a gut feeling about Nova. Like when they got started in the tournament, like when they lost the Big East final, and then they came out of the gate in the tournament and they were just like crushing. You kind of had a feeling they were primed to make a run. Do I get the same feeling about any of these teams this year? Maybe Carolina. And let me clarify. Maybe South Carolina. Like, I kind of feel like they might be that team of destiny that's really going to amp it up. But even then, they haven't been blowing teams out. I mean, they've been winning their games, but they haven't been blowing teams out. So, I mean, and last year, with Nova, they blew out Miami. They blew out Oklahoma. And they were blowing out North Carolina in the first half of the championship game until North Carolina made the comeback. And then, Nova got the shot at the end. They get the win. Can we see something like that again this year? Who knows? I'll tell you what, though. If North Carolina loses the championship game again this year on a last-second heartbreak, there's going to be some people down in the light blue that are slitting some wrists on Tuesday morning.
Oh, listen, no question about it. Sean Spielman chiming in that he thinks Gonzaga wins it all. He thinks, to your point, he thinks Carolina chokes. Well, not that you said they choke. He thinks
but they
choke.
could.
He thinks they choke, and he said, meanwhile, the Spurs were 15-0 on Golden State. Holy shit. So,
is anybody playing in that game, though? Because last time.
Yeah, well, that's true. Nobody might be playing. Pop and Kerr might even be on the bench.
Well, no, but here's the thing. Golden State had to have a massive comeback last night to get by Houston. In Houston, Draymond Green got hurt, and now they go to San Antonio for the second half of a back-to-back, while San Antonio was basically sitting at home last night watching them play.
Yeah. Well,
San Antonio's no joke.
Like soft.
Yeah, they are soft.
They're all getting a little soft. Now, I had a point that I wanted to tell you, and I completely freaking forgot, but that's fine. It's all part of the gig, right? But no, when I look at UNC, and to Sean's point about them choking this year, and I know he's a Dookie, so I get that. You should hope they choke. But these kids came back for a reason. Now, listen, I understand when you talk about, a few of these kids, you can make a case like, oh, well, they might not got drafted, blah blah blah. But when you look how they have the whole team back, the whole crew's back. Oregon's a good basketball team. I don't see how they beat them. I mean, when Carolina is the most talented team in the country, we talked about it on our preview to March Madness that if they play Carolina-style basketball, who we think they are, they're cutting the nets down. That was my opinion from jump, and it still holds true right now. Now, we didn't know which North Carolina team we were getting, but the one we've got dominates you inside. They're too big for anybody in the country. The only team that can bang around down low would be Gonzaga, but they're not athletic enough. They're just not. They're not. I mean, some part of rebounding and is being a good athlete too, right? But Carolina's physical, big, and they're athletes. I don't see that as much with Gonzaga and their bigs, if that makes sense. Oregon's not big enough, right? In my opinion.
No. Well, that's why I said when Mike posed a question on what team do you think can't win the title, that's why I immediately said Oregon, just because I think they lose this next game. They don't have enough options to keep pace with North Carolina.
No, you know what, though? Oregon has a great story, too, and not a lot of people know about it. There was a kid on Oregon, Dylan Ennis, who actually started at Villanova, dealt with some injuries, had to redshirt a couple times, wound up graduating from Nova the year before they won the national championship, transferred to Oregon, had immediate eligibility because he graduated from Nova, had to take a medical red shirt last year, so he gets to come back this year as a sixth-year senior, and he's in the Final Four. And I guess that's who Jay has thrown his support to. Rob, you and I completely on the same page with that. I literally just saw that. So J-Man360 chiming in on the YouTube.
Nice.
South Carolina, 78-77 over UNC.
That would be amazing.
He's also got a completely outlandish prediction for the Phillies that we'll get to shortly.
No shot.
We're coming back to you, J-Man.
I mean, listen, to say this again, when you're talking about how the brackets go and how everything goes, for me to say that if South Carolina and North Carolina matched up, that South Carolina's beating them, I don't see it.
No
shot.
I don't say it.
That might be a roll job.
I hate to say no shot, but Carolina can beat you by 40. They could put it to you, and it could be a long night. Which now Oregon can score a lot. We know Oregon can put it up, but Carolina plays better defense than them too.
Yeah, but to your point, it's almost as if South Carolina does beat Gonzaga, they need to face Oregon. Because if they go up against North Carolina, that's gonna be trouble.
Well, I think for either side,
it's just a bad match.
Either side desperately has to root for Oregon, and you're rooting for Oregon. You're rooting for Oregon, who could put it to you too. But now, Oregon's impressed me with their size a little bit more after the injury. I think they've been a little more physical than I thought they would be inside, but I just don't see how they match up. I don't. Again, I look at these two, and I almost say, take South Carolina, take North Carolina on T, and go to bed. Call me in the morning. You know what I mean? Pop 2 Tylenol, go to bed. Send it into your book. Call it a night. Now, if I was you, for the way I've gone this
send
tournament,
it into your book. I love
do
it.
the complete opposite.
Do the
But that's semantics.
so the final will be Gonzaga and Oregon.
In Oregon, yep.
Which the people in the Pacific Northwest would absolutely love.
No, they will. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think the NCAAs will allow that to happen.
Could you imagine that though? You get
It could be either way.
a team from Oregon and a team from Washington in the final of an NCAA basketball tournament.
When we consider that like soft conferences and the way we look at them conferences, or you get 2 teams from the Carolinas, East Coast. I'm not going to say not walking distance by any stretch, but 2-3 hours away from each other.
No, but I mean
maybe 4.
But the Carolinas, I mean that's the basketball hotbed.
And then what does that do for basketball? So I just want the best matchup, man. I think the best matchup is South Carolina and North Carolina. That's the best matchup you're going to get, in my opinion.
It'd be the most intriguing, definitely.
You think Gonzaga and North Carolina is a better matchup, though?
I think Gonzaga wins it.
You stop it. You guys falling in love now. Look at you.
I just think they got over the hump.
Wait, what hump?
They're gonna finish
What is it,
off.
hump? He's humping. Hump day.
It is hump day.
I just want to root for Frank Martin. I do. I love the guy.
No, Frank, you got Gonzaga. I mean, hey, it's
when
fair
you could
loaded with
pull off
upper class.
maroon suits to match your team's uniform,
You're winning.
You're winning. You're winning at something. It might be life, but you're winning. Gotta love that.
Sean Spielman said Oregon is like when Chip Kelly's team went up against big dogs. Blowout. UNC beats Oregon by 20. # no notes. Love it. Love it, Sean.
Yeah, you're sitting in front of your laptop, Mr. No Notes. Great.
Oh.
And I'm reading what the people ask.
Yeah. No, not you. Him.
Oh, no. Yeah, well, he's allowed to say.
I don't give a shit. I got plenty of notes right here, and I'm not afraid to use them.
Yeah, when I say no notes, it's most of the conversation, and whenever I do a video, I'm not putting notes in front of me. It's a little different there. So you have Gonzaga cutting the nets down.
I got to stick with my original pick, Carolina.
I'm going.
Now, do
clarify north.
North.
Yeah,
now,
Mike said Carolina to cut.
I like how you did that.
He has a 50% chance.
he's like, I'm staying with my pick, Carolina.
Do I want to see them win? Not so much. I'm kind of big on the South Carolina train right now, but yeah, I mean, North Carolina is the most complete out of the 4 teams. So I think if I had, gun to my head, if I have to pick one of them, I picked them at the beginning for the rematch with Nova, and I'm sticking with that, North Carolina.
I like it. Zach Boyan chiming in. That South Carolina team has heart rolling with them.
That's ain't nothing wrong with that either. That's a damn true statement. I've never seen a team play granted, they're in the Final Four. They have some ability, But that team is, I mean, they're not a system team. They are heart and hustle. And
they wheel their nuts out on a wheelbarrow.
Yeah, slap the floor, D it up, and then get it to Cinderella and watch them go.
It's true. That's going to be the matchup I'm going with is them two. And I'm taking UNC. I'm going with them. The best team in the country. And I think they're in a favorable position right now. You know, if you would have told them these are the 4 standing, I think they'd be real happy with their chances.
Well, I think a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I also think a lot of
Kentucky UNC was really the national championship.
Right, but I think a lot of people are also underestimating North Carolina because they had 7 losses this year. That's 7 losses. I mean, how many teams have
2
won?
2 against Duke.
Yeah, I mean, how many teams have won national championships with 7, 8, 9, 10 losses? I mean, it does happen. And it's 7 losses, and they play in the top conference in the country. They also play a tough non-conference schedule, and they had to go through a conference tournament. I mean, to bag on North Carolina because they have 7 losses coming into the tournament is short-sighted, and there's no way it should happen.
Yeah, it is short-sighted. It is. The whole process, the whole RPI and everything they do to me is short-sighted. You know, everything's got to be measured on a computer. Yeah, how often do you go look at a team?
Right.
How good is this basketball team? Right. I mean, you had Carolina. The fact that like Duke's a 1 seed, any way you want to slice it this year, or your first 2 in, and Carolina, all intents and purposes, now you're going to give Nova that 1 seed. You know, if you watched enough basketball, I think you knew who the real 1 seed was. Now, you give it to Nova because of their record and because they won it last year. But
yeah, I mean, we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Who's
when we were
hungry?
looking at it, it was, Nova came in with 3 losses. 2 of the losses were to the same team.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, you couldn't give it to Gonzaga. Yeah, they had 1 loss, but they didn't play anybody. Mm-hmm. Kansas had just lost. Duke and Carolina were kind of beating each other up. And it was, did Nova deserve the overall number 1 seed? Yeah, I mean, probably. I think they did. But could you have made an argument for 4 other teams? Of course.
But the other thing is, with
Duke's
Duke's seed, where Duke was, they were the 2 seed in Nova's bracket.
Right.
So the NCAA was essentially saying Duke was the worst
of the 2
seeds, which made no sense.
I don't believe it. I absolutely don't believe in that.
You can't win the ACC tournament and be considered the lowest or
the eighth team in the country.
It's just a joke. It's a joke. Now, I mean, do we know the Dukies for getting knocked out early? Yeah, but it's still a joke. Just like Nova gets knocked out early all the time. Besides winning the chip, they don't like anything past number 32.
Seriously,
right.
No. It's funny because we were talking about that a couple weeks ago after it happened. Nova either goes to the Final Four or they go home in the first weekend. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. They don't get knocked out in the Sweet 16. They don't get knocked out in the Elite 8. They either go home first weekend or they're going to the Final Four. That's just how it is. And maybe Jay's going to do something about that. What's crazy is that...
Well, he's got to start recruiting bigs.
But here's the thing.
He had one Spellman
he's
last
got one
year,
that got screwed on eligibility. But I was just going to say...
He got screwed on eligibility or he
I
screwed
thought it was
himself
academically
No, that was the thing was... Had he gone to Duke or Carolina, he probably would have been eligible. But because he was at Villanova...
Okay.
And their academic standards are a little tougher... And he's in the Big East, and their academic standards are a little tougher. He couldn't play this year.
Makes sense.
What's crazy is they're losing Hart and Jenkins. Hart may wind up winning the Wooden Award for Player of the Year. They lose Hart and Jenkins, and they could actually be better next year than they are this year.
Yeah, you need some bigs.
Yeah.
And you talked about that beforehand with Noah Shefu this year, and, that was a big loss for them when you look at their teams and you look at all the teams that are left. They have legit big men that are doing something to win them basketball games.
Well, I mean,
right? You look at Oregon, Jordan Bell has been playing real well inside for being a 6'9" guy playing down with the big boys.
Well, I mean, they're talking
Yeah,
Spellman's 6'11"?
and he's
6'11".
That could stretch the floor, too.
He's 6'11", projects as a true center in college, projects as a stretch 4 in the NBA. And they're saying he could be a 20-10 guy from day one next year.
Yeah, he was like the number 2 power forward in the recruiting class last year from Chicago, so he's a dog, too.
Yeah.
Well, then again, Okafor's from Chicago, too.
Well, and he's a dog, too. He's a wrong kind of dog, but he's a dog.
Let me digress.
We're talking the difference between mutts and bulldogs.
This is what I think, because we were talking about before we came on a little bit about, Sean was saying that he thinks college basketball and the NBA need to take a little page out of the NFL's book in terms of making guys stay a little longer, 3 years 3 academic years is what you're saying.
Yeah,
right?
and then because if you redshirt, you don't have to play 3 years.
3 academic years. Yeah.
3 academic years.
Or at least 2.
Yeah. But I not even your body's going to grow. Mm-hmm. You're going to be more mature mentally.
I think it makes it easier for NBA execs to
and
scout players.
I'm going to say, and exactly, you're going to be able to tell. You're going to get a better grasp on who the guy is rather than this 18-year-old projects to this. Rather, you're talking about a 21-year-old.
His body looks like it's going to get here.
Yeah.
Like Mason's a perfect example from Kansas. Like in most mock drafts, people got him in the second round. What? Why? Because he's a senior?
No, you know why?
So or he's small?
And that's why. It's funny because I was having this conversation.
And it's a senior.
On
it's
Saturday.
Like he gets knocked for both.
He's tops.
Right? That's the bad thing about college basketball.
Tops, he's 5'11". So NBA, is he undersized? Yeah, but I just look at him and I'm like, you know what? He can play. and I mean,
Isaiah Thomas undersized, Allen Iverson undersized.
Right, but I mean, I look at it and
guys can score.
I just say, I just look in this city and I say, T.J. McConnell proved us wrong. Is this kid better than T.J. McConnell? Yeah, absolutely. So could he play in the NBA? Of course. Is he going to be a first-round draft pick? Probably not. But I guarantee he's got at least a 7-8 year career.
Well, I mean, listen.
Well, let me ask you guys.
How does a guy who's his conference player of the year not a first-round pick from Kansas? Because he's small, I get that, but it's because he's a senior. He gets punished. These guys get punished
for staying
by the NBA
by
staying longer. For what? For 2 years? Give me senior guys or juniors who stayed and finished the job they went there for, even if they didn't win, but got better. I'll take them guys any day of the week.
But go back to the first point that you made about the Final Four. Where's all the freshmen?
None.
They're not there.
They're not there.
Exactly.
So are they learning how to win? Are they learning how to take next steps? Are they learning how to develop their game more? One, to get into more of your man's body, but to develop your game more. You go to the NBA, the development of your game goes away. It does.
It does.
You fall in the NBA game. Right? And the reason the NBA is now watered down and people don't like it like they used to is because none of these kids are getting polished before they come in. Okay, great. They can 360 under the leg, slam it down, and their head hits the top of the backboard, and they can take, put 4 quarters up and take $1 down. That's
great. But they can't make a free throw.
But they can't do the little things. And when I look at a guy like Mason, this is an example of a guy. I watched his game, and I said, how does he not translate to the next level? He completely translates to what the NBA is going to. Quick, smaller guards. He can flat out shoot the lights out. Mm-hmm. He can take anybody off the dribble. How is that not what the NBA is going to? Could he's 2 inches smaller than they would like him to be a point guard? Mm-hmm. Let me stop it. Seth Curry's all a 6'1", and don't even tell me he's like 6'3".
Isaiah Thomas on Boston's 5'9".
If that, right?
Yeah.
And I think
plenty of guys you could point to.
The biggest example I look at is Josh Hart. The guy last year when he was like, I'm going to leave early, running the coattails of the national championship team. He got feedback. They were like, dude, you might not get drafted. Right. You're going to be a second-round pick. He came back, and every time I watched him play this year, and I know it might be a little outlandish and might be getting a little ahead of myself, but when he plays, his game reminds me so much of Dwayne Wade now because he's going to give you top-notch defense. He's going to get to the rim and finish through contact, and his jumper really improved this season, and Dwayne Wade's not the greatest jump shooter.
Right.
And I just look at him and I'm like, that's the type of player you're getting if you draft Josh Hart this year as opposed to last year you were getting question marks.
No, I agree because you're right. He developed his game.
He went from being undrafted to the latest mock I seen him going was 22 to the Thunder this year.
Bro, the possible national, 2 of them are in the running. I mean, Mason's in the running for the same thing.
Right.
You could talk about 2 candidates for National Player of the Year.
22 in second round. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, or second round and maybe not drafted.
Right.
I mean, that's a joke.
Yeah.
The NBA and Adam Silver need to get their heads out of their ass and do what's not – forget – these kids can all get insurance policies out. I'm so tired, and I'm going to lose my shit for a second before we go to break. I'm so sick and tired of talking about this. You can get freaking insurance policies out for $10, $15 million if you're really a lottery pick and stay another year. I don't want to hear it. You could tear that ACL and never walk again and get paid $15 million. So shut your mouth. You're getting a free education. I understand that that's not what they're there for, but why not? How's that hurting you as a man?
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, you're
for
absolutely
after
right.
basketball. These goddamn organizations all talk to these kids about what? Oh, you got to prepare for life after sports, life after the NFL life, or whatever life it is, right? Well, what better way to prepare a kid for a life after than spending 3 or 4 years in college? Learn how to manage your time right through everything else going on. How does that not help a kid grow into a man? Because I'll wait for the NBA to tell me. Because the NBA is in such a goddamn rush. Because everybody wants to get the youngest guy, the youngest person ever. Like, we're recruiting kids at 5 years old. I saw a kid get recruited out of the womb the other day. And that's what it's coming down to, right?
Yep.
It's a mess. And you're ruining a good game. You're ruining a good game.
You're absolutely right. Because, I mean, even if these kids go to college and they major in phys ed or basket weaving or whatever the hell it is.
Broadcasting, communications.
Who cares? You're there.
They'll steal our jobs anyway.
You're learning how to manage your time, your money. Your level of responsibility picks up. Coaches make them go to class. You saw the kid from North Carolina. He hits the winning shot at, 7 o'clock Sunday night, and he's sitting front row in his Business 101 lecture at 8 o'clock Monday morning because coach makes him go to class.
Well, bro,
I mean, it's I get it that it's the whole education part has taken a backseat to the athletics, but there is something to be said for these kids going and staying in school. And Sean, to your point, I love it. I love the whole 3 academic years thing. The only thing that you have to, the caveat that you have to tie in there is you can't take kids straight out of high school anymore. They're going to have to go to college, or if they don't go to college, they can't play until they're 21.
Well, that was
guys from
the
overseas.
Other thing. Yep.
If you draft an 18 or a 19-year-old from overseas, they got to stay overseas till they're 21.
That was the other caveat was international players weren't eligible for the draft till they were 21.
Interesting.
I like it. Well, what's wrong with that?
There is nothing wrong
What's
with
wrong
that.
with that? Because a kid needs to come in at 18? I don't understand. Like, okay, Brandon Ingram is an example I'm going to give you right now. It wanted to help Brandon Ingram to stay another year, Duke.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, come on. Did that get polished right
He's
now?
probably the first overall pick this year.
Stay in Philly.
Given he went second last
Wouldn't it have
year.
helped Ja to stay at Duke for a couple more
You
years?
think? Right?
Learn how to play a little defense?
Right? Now,
Yeah.
this is what happens, right? You get a kid like Ben Simmons, right? And everybody comes to him his junior, senior year, running around AAU ball, right? Oh, you'd be number 1 pick if you came out of high school, right? You're gonna be number 1 pick when you come out of LSU or wherever you go. You're gonna be number 1 pick. You're gonna be number 1 pick. Well, if everybody's telling me I am, why am I staying? To their back, to defend these kids. If you're telling me that I can go get a $60 million deal and shoe endorsements, why would I stay?
Are you a big,
Right.
Are you a
Why am I
big,
going to
baller
class?
now?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
You
you
a
got a
big
big
baller?
baller brand. Yeah, right? I mean, so why not, like, stop putting it in the kid's head, right? If a kid knows that I got to go to 3 years of school, he's going to go to 3 years of school. They're not going to bitch and moan, okay? And if they get hurt, they get hurt. Okay, but nowadays, in 2017, you can tear an ACL and come back better. So I don't want to hear it. There's no injury that's going to happen to you on a basketball court that's going to end your career. Ask Sean Livingston. Ask him. I'll wait. I mean, real. This guy's got more blown knees, and I'm not talking about ACLs. We're talking about ACL, MCL, and whatever other CLs that are up in that knee. Have been torn numerous occasions, and the guy still came back because he was that much of a talent to be able to do so. So I don't want to hear it. And he's getting paid tons of money.
Look at the kid in Milwaukee.
He's the guy.
Kid in Milwaukee.
Jabari.
Yeah, Jabari. I mean, he's blown it twice in 3 years now. And he's just going to keep coming back.
He's going to keep coming back. Now, for a case like Jabari, you can look and be like, okay, well, at least he came out early and got drafted. But you don't know. Maybe he stays and it doesn't happen to him.
Right.
Maybe his body develops
and yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of factors. I'm not sitting here completely like, oh, I don't want to see these kids early, but wanting to make the college game better. Like I told you, it's the first year that I didn't get into the regular season because it's tough to keep up with.
It sucked.
100 new kids a year. 100 kids go out, 100 kids come in.
College basketball sucked this year. It really did.
It wasn't as good.
It wasn't fun.
Because college
basketball was not fun until tournament time this year.
How good would it be De'Aaron Fox, and I'm not a Kentucky guy, but De'Aaron Fox and Monk come back again, right? How much better is that for the whole NCAA? Right, you look at Tatum for Duke. Tatum comes back.
Oh, that
and not to mention if they were
imagine
Fox and Monk coming into Kentucky this year, but then you also have Jamal Murray sitting there.
Oh yeah, bro. How about you just give these kids a piece of the jersey sales?
Yeah,
give these kids a piece back of their jersey sales. Right? There's another way to do it. Okay, some of the money you make, Give back to these kids in
Well,
certain
that's what
ways.
if you ever seen Ben Simmons' documentary, college or I forget
Right.
what it's called, but he said that he said. I'm sitting here. I'm not able to play in games or start games because I didn't go to class. He said, but yet they're asking me to go do these media things. They're putting me on posters around campuses.
Shut up, Wilson.
And they're putting me all over. And they're marketing me as if I'm a celebrity.
You're absolutely right.
Or a professional. He said they're making tons of money just off my name. And I don't get none of that, but I get in trouble for showing up to class 30 minutes late.
It's a real simple solution. What they need to do with the and obviously because of there's equality and everything like that, whatever. What they need to do is they just need to take every school's merchandise sales for a calendar year, figure out what the merchandise sale per scholarship athlete is. So let's just say, a school like Duke, for example, for every scholarship athlete they have at Duke, let's say that in merchandise they made $700,000. Just picking a random number. Give them $70,000. Give them 10% of all merchandise sales. Every one of them. I mean,
why not?
Yeah.
And I don't even think you would have to give them that
they're
much.
getting a free education.
I don't even think you would have to give them that much. You're telling me a college kid
Give
wouldn't
them
be
5%.
happy? Yeah, with half of that.
Yeah, give them 5%.
Let them sign shoe deals ahead of time.
But
Because guess what? That
guarantee they would
5%,
stay in school.
that
Why?
5% is more money than they're making before. Like,
You're right.
Why can't they sign shoe deals earlier?
Exactly.
Why can't they sign them when
Because the school's got the shoe deal.
Okay, the school has a shoe deal, but why can't say you let's go UCLA. Say UCLA's got Under Armour, right? Mm-hmm. Well, why can't Lonzo get a deal with Under Armour
signature
too?
Under Armour shoe? Yeah.
Why not? Why not be creative with this?
See now,
he doesn't have to get locked in.
Now I'm about to say that's where I would say, because what if he's like, Nike wants to offer me this, Under Armour's lowballing me because they know they have the control under UCLA.
Well, it doesn't matter.
But then you're right. But you're right though. If it's just while they're in college, then yeah.
That's it.
Totally.
And when you go to the NBA, you can go off and branch off to whatever you want. But in college, give these kids, if it's Nike, that's UNC or whatever it is, let these kids.
Michigan will be Jordan.
Yeah, let these kids get a piece of that shoe deal.
Imagine how many more recruits Michigan would land, knowing if like the number one recruit in the country goes there, he's gonna get a signature Jordan shoe.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Absolutely.
All right, we'll run to a break.
Yeah.
We'll come back. We'll continue talking college basketball. Anyone want to chime in, let us know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, we're everywhere. We'll talk more. We'll get a little baseball season. We'll start swinging.
Into the wheelhouse.
We'll toe the rubber.
The countdown has started.
So we'll talk about the Phillies roster. We'll give our thoughts on who, some of the guys who are going to make this team. There's only really one position battle up right now.
I'd say, one roster spot and a couple bullpen spots, yeah.
All right, so we'll talk about that.
It's getting interesting.
Give our predictions, where the Phillies land, and we'll talk some Sixers and some more tank. You want to finish off the tank this year? Let us know. We'll be coming back. This is Tom.
Mike.
AM.
In the PM.
A2DRadio.com. Sean Redden as well. I don't know if I told you this when we opened up. Tom Arnone, Michael Maddock, and Sean Redden. Rob Povey on the ones and twos. I took a little hiatus as well. So it's been a little bit since I've been on the mic.
Getting back into the flow.
It's a good thing Rob's not on camera though, wearing that Mets hat.
Could have let him get away with it, Sean.
No.
You like this, right? It's tight.
He was in the clear.
Yeah, it's so tight it's squeezing the brain out of your head.
This segment was brought to you by the Soap Stash. You can find the new soap standard, first off, the greatest soap I've ever put on my body. I think I said this numerous times. You got to hit them up. You got to go check them out. Find them on the web, soapstash.com, or right on Facebook, Soap Stash LLC, as well as our certified public accountant, Gibson Mayer LLC. Make him yours. Find them on the web, gibsonmayer.com. We'll be right back.
Tom and Mike, AM in the PM, is brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Mike from Tom and Mike AM in the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer, LLC, Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's www.gibsonmayer.com.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Gonzaga Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson.
You're listening to Tom and Mike, AM in the PM, here on A2DRadio.com. You're listening to Tom and Mike, AM in the PM, here on A2DRadio.com.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer, LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, And if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Gonzaga Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
Good old dry humping. Michael Irvin style.
Oh, my.
Oh, too soon?
God.
Hashtag not my crack pipe.
Yeah, it never is.
Oh, my God.
It never is. So, and everybody probably heard this earlier. But hold on. First off, welcome back into Tom,
Mike,
AM,
in the PM.
A2DRadio.com, live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios like we are every Wednesday night. This show, like every Wednesday, is brought to you by our certified public accountant. Make them yours. Find them on the web, GibsonMayer.com. That's GibsonMayer.com. Tax season, 2 weeks away. Get them in. You're running out of time. Tom Renone, Michael Mataraki, Sean Redden, Rob Povey on the ones and twos. Don't want to miss that again for the peeps out there. And what the hell was I saying when we first came in? What was I just saying?
Dude, I don't
Quit smoking cigarettes, and I don't know.
Michael Irvin.
Oh, Irvin, the playmaker. The Bill Cosby of the NFL.
You hit one of my keywords.
Explain this situation to me, right? So I know these women are looking for money. I get all that, guys. But
Class is in session. Here we go.
this guy, all right, she claims he drugged and raped her. He claims he was only in the hotel room for 15 minutes. Well, I can get done in 15 minutes, first off.
Right.
So don't give me the 15, Michael, okay?
I
but
only
then,
need 5.
Mr.
That's
Irvin.
a couple rounds.
Motto.
Mr. Playmaker himself wants to pass the hot dog blame. Right? He always likes to push it off to somebody else. Well, I left her in the room with my buddy. What? What, dude?
So
What?
he hired a fall guy.
I'm about to say that's the
He
number
listened to
one
Chris
rule. You
Carter.
gotta have a fall guy.
Gotta have a fall guy.
Him and Chris Carter were listening to each other. They talked.
Well, I was
You
going
got
to
his
say,
fall guy.
wasn't that Chris Carter's deal? You got to have a fall guy?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Deron Reeves had a fall guy.
Yeah, I guess
Came
so.
out of nowhere.
Had a couple of them. But I just thought that was funny. Like, you're going to put it on, you're going to blame it on somebody else's.
That's why that guy's
hot
there,
dog.
though.
That's why he's there, I guess.
Did he sign anywhere?
Who?
Revis.
No, it's rumored to be between the Patriots and the Steelers. It's kind of ironic he got into a fight. I don't want to go back there.
Well, that's his hometown, right? Pittsburgh?
Well, that's where he went to college. I don't know if that's where he's from.
If you're the Eagles, do you talk to him?
That's a Band-Aid.
Yeah, if you want to keep doing what how he's doing.
And Patrick Robinson's not?
Oh, he completely.
Well, I agree. But, I mean, the way he played last year, Patrick Robinson might be a better corner than
Yeah,
Deron Reeves.
You ain't even lying about that one. No kidding.
I'm just excited the fact that we got a combo on our defensive line next year of long cocks.
Long cocks, you like that, huh? They line up next to each other?
See a lot of penetration next season.
Well, you know what Jaws says? It's all about the penetration, but it's all about the protection.
Oh, my God.
Well, we were also expecting. we were also expecting to get a lot of penetration and cocks this year, and we didn't really go as planned. So, no, we thought our D line was special.
Well, you know what happened? Cox got blocked.
Cox block.
Cox blocked.
Yeah, our sacks went through a dry spell.
Jeez, we can just keep going. We keep going with this one. We keep going.
And the problem is, and I'll throw up the air quotes on that, the problem is we ain't lying.
Exactly.
We are not lying about any of it. Anyway.
Gotta love being Eagles fan.
Anyhow,
How about some Phillies?
yeah, we're going to get into some Phils. If you just joined us, our poll question brought to you by Scanzano Sports. Find them on the web, scanzanosports.com. Who will win the NCAA men's basketball Final Four championship? Let us know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. HUD Radio is where you can find us. South Carolina, Gonzaga, Oregon, North Carolina. If I had to tell you that, well,
Get out from under the rock.
Why you
can't help you. Now we're going to talk some fightings. Time to talk some fightings. Season right around the block. I'm jazzed up.
You know what? We should talk about the events of today before we dive into this, because I think you and I were pretty hyped about that.
Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
All right, so I'm at work, and I don't know if you guys even heard about this, but so I'm at work this afternoon, and it's getting late in the afternoon. Both games are winding down, but I'm getting the MLB at-bat alerts on my phone. So with spring training games, basically you get the alerts every time one of the teams scores or one of the teams has a pitching change. So I get an alert on my phone from MLB at bat for the Phillies. Singer, no ERA, enters the game in the 8th against Detroit. And I'm looking at it. So I swipe, screenshot, crop, send it to Tommy. I'm like, yo, your boy's in the game. So Tom immediately then hits the MLB.com app, and he's looking to see, what Singer did. So fill everybody in on the Singer relationship there.
Well, I coach teams and do baseball training at Scanzano Sports for Team Combat, and I got to work with Jeff this year for the first time. A guy I knew, Kevin Walsh, who actually took a job out in North Dakota to coach a college baseball team. He took that job. He was with the Phillies last year, if you remember, Mike. So he was with the Phillies last year. Him and Jeff met, I assume, last year because they both left last year to go to camp together.
Right.
Well, Jeff obviously stuck on, left-handed, throws smoke, the whole nine, and I was able to do a lot of trainings with him this year, as through the winter and all that.
We talked about potentially getting him on the show.
Yeah, and you know what?
Once the season starts,
it was really. I could have got him on any point. We were supposed to do something. His dad works at a car dealership. It was all going to be advertised for. But guess what? I looked at it as, man, dude, focus on your craft right now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bother you during the week as much as you're cool with it. I want you to just worry about baseball. I don't want you to have to worry about this. Yeah. We got plenty of time to get you on.
Get through spring training, get your season started, figure out where you're going to be.
Yeah.
And we'll get you on during the week,
And we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So I just didn't want to, bog him down with any of that kind of stuff, if that makes sense. But excited to see. He finally got a chance to throw.
That was awesome.
I know he was warming up to throw to one day, but didn't get a chance to. So it just, comes full circle. I work with the guy, great kid, and I think he's got that it when you talk about, being a bullpen guy.
Situational lefty.
Yeah, I think you have to have that short memory and just go out and be a gunslinger. for him, a gun singer.
Gunsinger. Yep.
So it's pretty cool. It's cool to see somebody, you work with, get a shot and continue to get a shot. He's still a young kid, so he'll get plenty of opportunities.
Well, that was me back in the day in the early 90s with, guys that went to high school in my area and that I wound up playing against in college that wound up making the show. Like Jeff Mann, and this goes way back, like 90 through 96, 97, whatever. Guy who was on the 93 Phillies for a while, Jeff Manto, went to a neighboring high school. And then guy that I played against in Little League, high school, and college, Joe McEwing. Everybody knows Joe McEwing with the Mets and the Cardinals, and he's now the White Sox third base coach. And I always got hyped over that stuff, even though these weren't personal friends of mine. It's guys from the area, guys that you played against. So it's always good stuff.
No, it is. It's cool to see that. It just is.
I have a kid I graduated with. One of my best friends. I was actually with him up until the day he left to go to spring training. But camp just broke. He texted me the other day. He got moved up. He was in short season state college, the Spikes. He's in the Cardinals organization. But now he's out in Peoria,
Illinois.
Yeah, Peoria, Illinois. Yeah, so he moved up again for the third year in a row.
That's awesome. It's funny. I tell the story all the time. There's a guy who played several seasons for the Detroit Tigers, Bobby Higginson. Actually played ball at Temple, and I played against him in college. He hit a ball in college during the fall season in a field that didn't have a fence. I swear to God, I think the ball went 480 on the fly and maybe another 200 feet after it bounced and rolled. He was around third before our right fielder even got to the ball. That's how far he hit it. It was ridiculous. But so Phils, we touched on it a little bit at the beginning of the show. I dig how they're doing it this week with, the two veteran catchers. Hey, we're gonna go with the kid backing up Cameron Rupp, so we're gonna ship you guys out on Monday, and then Tuesday rolls around and Chris Coughlin gets shown the door, and then today,
keep going. We'll try something.
It's all right. Go right ahead. Do what you got to do. They're. Does it reach?
That's what she said.
Is it long enough? Today yesterday was the Alec Asher trade. Today was Chris Coughlin gets released. And I like how they're doing this because what they're trying to do is they're trying to figure out how many spots can they free up on the 40-man roster so that they can either keep Daniel Nava or add one of these relief pitchers who's not on the roster to the 40-man roster so they don't run the risk of having to send guys through waivers when they send them down. But, for my money right now, there's 3 spots left on this team. There's one bench spot, which could wind up going to Jeshmiel Valentin simply because he's on the 40-man roster, and there's 2 bullpen spots. And the 2 bullpen spots come down to 3 guys, and they're all lefties. It's Cesar Ramos, Joely Rodriguez, and Adam Morgan. So, to me, I even though I don't have super high expectations for this team, to me, the fact that they're coming into the last 4 or 5 games of spring training with a real good idea of what their roster is going to look like, and there wasn't guys that you've never heard of, like last year, Cedric Hunter, that are going to make this squad.
Tyler Goodell.
Yeah, Tyler Goodell was a Rule 5, so you knew that he had to stick or they were going to give him up. But I love the fact that Tyler Goodell wasn't even a consideration this year. It's like, you know what, kid? You stuck around all last year. You did good. You proved your worth.
Play of the year.
Play of the year pretty much. But you're going down to AAA this year, and you're going to be the 4th outfielder down there. And you haven't really heard anything about him. And Cedric Hunter, he's been long gone, so, good riddance. But to me, even when you're not going to be a great team, when you know what your roster is going to look like, and we've talked about this a couple times, not only do they know what their big league roster is going to look like, but they know what their AAA roster and their AA roster are going to look like, and everything kind of just plays itself out exactly the way it should. Now, granted, we could have the argument till we're blue in the face that we want to see some of these pups up.
It's a major league roster.
We will. We will
league-
see. It is. It's a major league roster,
which it wasn't last year.
But it's a situation now where if an infielder gets hurt, you're probably going to see J.P. Crawford. You're not going to see your Taylor Featherstons or your Emmanuel Burrises or whoever else they were rolling through here last year. If an outfielder gets hurt, you're probably going to see Nick Williams. If either Cameron Rupp or Andrew Knapp get hurt, Alfaro's going to be up. And if Alfaro comes up, he's going to cut in to Cameron Rupp's playing time. This team right now is exactly where it needs to be for the direction that they want to go.
Well, that's what I was going to say to play on to your point is what is the biggest thing we've been stressing over the past couple months is the ineptitude in the front offices of all these Philadelphia sports. We're saying, who do we trust? And our opinions were always the same on the Phillies with Klentak. He hasn't done nothing to show me, like, that I could believe in him, but he hasn't done nothing to tell me, like, I want his head.
Right.
But this is a step showing he has a plan for the future of the team, and I think that is his first step to showing me he earned the trust a little bit.
Right, and not only is it a plan, but it's a solid plan.
And when you talk about Howie and you talk about Saunders, there's two guys you brought in on 1-year deals.
Exactly.
And Saunders, the option for the second, but essentially 1-year deals.
Best
Small
case scenario is
situations.
they light it up and they're
Right.
gone.
Yeah.
You trade him at the deadline.
And it's Clay Buchholz, same thing. I mean, it's with Buchholz, Hellickson, a lot of these guys, you hope that they just do well enough to trade. And by the end of the year, you'll have your pups in there. But this is a team that I love how this is playing out because, we've talked about the whole, how many guys would you have to trade for Mike Trout thing? And we've talked about the Manny Machado, Bryce Harper sweepstakes and that whole thing. And we could continue to talk about it till we're blue in the face. But the thing that I love about this whole scenario is the Phillies have $6 million. That's it. $6 million in payroll tied up for 2018. I mean, so by the time your kids are ready, you could go out and buy anybody you want to put around them.
Oh, yeah, no question.
And that gets you over the hump real quick.
Absolutely. And you're talking about having a set plan on where the guys are, and I heard you mention Crawford and Williams. I got to ask though, because he was one of my favorite players. I actually liked him since they drafted him. I thought it was good value out of Arizona, and he had a really solid spring. You think there's any scenario where Scott Kingery comes up this year?
No. Not because he's not deserving. I think Kingery's a year away. And he said it himself that he wants to go down to Double-A this year to start the year and start the year hot and then work his way up through Triple-A. He showed a lot, and I mean a lot in spring training. But I like him because he's realistic. He's not the guy who was, I think if somebody would have told him, like, hey, you have a real shot at making this ball club, he would have put his head down and he'd have played his ass off to try to make the club. But I think what they told him was, you're going to come up, you're going to play hard, you're going to get your at-bats, we're going to take a good long look at you, and we're going to send you back down and we're going to continue the development. Because, I mean, let's not forget, this kid, he's only, a year and a half out of college? Yeah. I mean, it's different with guys that they drafted out of high school that have been in the system a little longer, or guys that they've acquired in a trade that you want to get them through a little faster. But this kid coming out of college, would it surprise me if he showed up this year? No, not at all. But will I be disappointed? No. Next year, ask me the same question, entirely different answer. And he's one of my guys. I mean, you and I have talked about Kingery a lot because I tend to gravitate towards middle infielders. But
I tend to gravitate to great nicknames.
Yeah. The King.
Scotty Jetpack?
Scotty Jetpack? Scotty Jetpack.
How are you not going to be a stud?
And the King.
Like, there's, no way you can't be a stud. But, no, talking about this roster compared to last year and it being a major league roster more so than it was last year, that excites me. That actually gets me jazzed up because as much as I crave I guess word this the right way.
Crave the pups.
I always say as much as I crave the kids, as much as I crave The puppies in the farm system.
Well, I crave the puppies too, but that's okay.
But I'm going to go pet my puppy a little bit. But
I was talking about the sweater puppies, but that's another story.
my wife's right inside.
We're on camera now.
I'm
We're on
just sit on my
camera now.
hands.
I'm trying to be classy. But you look at this lineup and you look at this staff, and there is kids sprinkled in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as much as people criticize my boy Herrera, that's a pup. That's a kid.
It is.
All right. I mean, you can criticize. Nobody really criticized Franco, but then you got Franco. That's a pup. Joseph, still pup-ish, right? Stasi, I know he's 27, but still pup-ish.
But
in a way, because just knew.
I mean, it's his first. It's his first
Nap's
shot.
a baby. Nap's an official
Yeah.
pup. Noah pup. Michael pup. Velasquez pup.
Right. Cameron Rupp's not old. Galvis and Hernandez are not old.
Just leave Freddie out though.
Yeah.
Just say.
I
Caesar.
get it.
Just leave one name out when we go over this, because one thing I don't want people to tell me, and if I hear it one more time, I'm going to throw the computer through a wall. Okay. Don't tell me that he can pick it. Don't tell me a major league shortstop can pick it. They all can. Look at
That's
fielding.
what he's supposed to do.
Look at fielding percentages, and you know this, Mike. Go from the number one shortstop in fielding percentage to the last one. It ain't far off.
Nope.
It's not. Look, and me and my buddy Andrew said this the other night, and he goes, "I bet you some of the how do you word this? Oh, I got to figure out how to word this. Maybe Wilson's listening and will tell me. But he was believing that, some of the best. What was he saying? I'll remember it. We'll get to it. But he was talking about just like how hitting, is more important than picking. They're not picking it, but I'll get to what he said because I'm just going to go off on a tangent and not get to where I wanted to go. But I look at this lineup and it does excite me more because I look at the top of it. And Hernandez had a good year, a doable. You could say maybe a downer year than he had the first year, but still
You kind of expected that.
still
a little
good,
bit, yeah.
right? I mean, a little sophomore slump, but Saunders.
It was an all-star last year.
Yeah, and
whether he's hitting the
I
spring
think
or
he
not,
might be. I think with Saunders though, I think you're not gonna get like an average. I think you're gonna get a boom or bust.
Yeah, but that's okay. He's on a one-year contract.
Exactly. Yeah, he's here to pass the time.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
I mean, they're all here for a
My
reason.
still biggest problem is they still got Vincent Velasquez as a starting pitcher.
But you know what? And I think we all agree on that. We see closer in his future. Pretty much to a man. But
I would rather
he
he be in the bullpen and Thompson be in the rotation.
But you look at what he's done his last 3 starts of the spring. I mean, they basically told him this is what you need to work on, and this is how far you need to go into your games. And the last 3 starts of the spring, boom, boom, boom.
I think that
he did
Padres
exactly
game,
what they asked.
That Padres game last year blew it for him.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, that's
when he threw the complete game shutout. It was like the second week of the season, and it was done for after that. He never made it past the 4th inning throwing gas.
Besides Gomez, like talking about our bullpen real quick. Besides Gomez, because I don't know who he really is, if that makes any sense. But when I look at Neris, I like Hector Neris a lot.
Oh no, I love Neris
a lot. I like Neris a lot. I like Benoit a good amount because it's a little bit of a different arm angle. That's good to see out of the pen. Obviously Nishak had a great WBC. And so I'm starting to like that back end of the pen besides Gomez. And I hope McCann at some point comes to the realization that Hector Neris is your closer.
Well, that's what I was
think he
hoping
will.
they were going to do.
I really hope.
Because Gomez wouldn't be bad as a middle guy.
no.
But you can't have
7th inning guy.
Yeah, but
Right.
Neris to me looks like a closer.
Agreed. But here's the thing that I'll say to you guys, and I am not on the Jeanmar Gomez bandwagon by any means, but you go back and you look at last year with him. He had 1 bad month. And he came back.
Oh, no, he got it done.
Yeah, I mean, he came back in spring training this year, and he's 1-9 through spring training.
Oh, yeah.
So
he got it done. I just don't like it.
Does he have electric stuff? No, absolutely
Hey,
not.
Can he get ground balls?
Can he get
3 outs?
Yeah.
Can he get
3 outs?
It's not about
So
you.
it's not a. To me, that situation is not a killer. Would you rather see a guy like Neris? Absolutely. To me, though, I gotta wonder if the team is winning and you put Neris in that spot, can he handle that pressure?
That is true because some guys are good where they're comfortable.
J-Man 360 on YouTube, 94.68 for the Phillies.
Whew.
What are you smoking,
Sign me
bro?
up, J-Man.
Yeah.
Sign me
I
up.
love the enthusiasm,
All
J-Man.
right, well, real quick, because that's great. I love that. I love the enthusiasm. I really do. So I want to touch on this for a second, okay? Let's just say 90. Okay? Let's just say 90. What would have to happen? This is how you got to be realistic with it. What would have to happen to answer for his statement? What would have to happen for them to just get to 90? How much would have to go? Like, Nola would have to be a Cy Young candidate.
I'm about to say Nola has to win 15.
Eichhoff's got to win 15. Every star's got to win 15.
You want the real answer?
Franco hits 45.
Herrera's got to hit 320.
Rupp's got to hit 20 bombs. Joseph has to hit 30. Franco has to hit 40, and they have to trade for Mike Trout. That's how you get to 90.
But without the trade, Herrera's got to bat like 325.
Yep.
Saunders can't get
Freddie
hurt.
Galvis has to hit 310.
Now, in all honesty, to get to 90, 6 out of their 8 position players have to have career years.
Yeah, so.
Doable.
It is. It absolutely is. And they'd have to pitch.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
What Aaron Nola are you going to get?
I'm willing to bet you guys that Nola actually starts the season on the disabled list. If you look at their schedule, they actually don't need a fifth starter. No, I'm serious. They actually don't need a fifth starter for 2 weeks, and he last pitched yesterday, so they could actually DL him retroactive to yesterday, leave him down in Florida, and just let him keep throwing.
Why do you think like they would do that just for extra rest?
Well, I think it's just to allow him a little more time to work the kinks out because he hasn't looked real good. It also gives you an extra bullpen arm for the first 2 weeks.
All right.
I mean, if you don't need the fifth starter.
But why would he be the guy?
I think just because right now he's out of their projected 5 starters, he's probably the one who's struggling the most coming into the end of spring training.
That's troublesome.
It is a little troublesome.
That really is. I mean, listen, use the high pick on him. All the pedigree in the world, but this is why we say it all the time. Get a kid to the show so we can find out who he is. We're going to find out who he is.
And the thing is, he came in as a rookie and had a solid job.
I don't think he's not beyond recovery. I just think what happened was he took so much time off last year, and then when he came back this year, the beginning of spring training with him was all about, your health, your health, your health, your health. Just go out and throw. Build the arm strength. Don't worry about your pitches. Don't worry about location. Well, now all of a sudden, he's at that point in spring training where he's got to throw all 4 pitches, and he's got to worry about his location. And I've watched him throw a couple times, and he's been the victim of that one bad inning where, he'll cruise through the first and second, and then all of a sudden he comes into the third inning, and it's like ground out, walk, single, walk, double. All of a sudden, he paints black and he gets guy 0-2, and then he leaves one up and boom, spring training home run. I mean, all of a sudden he's down 5-0.
What outside of that scoreless streak he had going last year, I feel like that's kind of always been his MO though. Is he looks great for a stretch, and then he has that one collapse inning. I feel like that's how he's been since he's been up here.
And you're not wrong about that. You're definitely not wrong. So maybe the issue with him is you got to just, maybe you only
gets in trouble and presses, like he tries to
that's
overthrow.
The thing is, instead of trying to go 7 or 8 every night, maybe you try to do 6 every
strong,
night.
yeah.
But they're 6 strong, exactly, and you keep yourself out of that big inning. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing: it's
confidence.
Oh, it's confidence.
Well, that's why I think they shut him down last year. I think he needed a mental break more than a physical break.
At the end of the day, he needs outs to gain the confidence until he's getting them out.
But I think it's the LSU factor because this is a kid who comes out of LSU and he's the Friday night starter at LSU. When you start on Friday night at LSU, you're expected to go 8, and that's his mentality. I don't have a problem with the mentality, but when you're not going 8. you got to figure out a way to limit the damage.
Hey, what do they say is a quality start, Mike?
6 innings, 3 runs or less.
So, I mean, for him as a guy who struggled, you got to look at quality starts right now. And to your point, which is a great point because that's awesome. You pitch Friday night at LSU, you expect them to go 8.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love that mentality because I think pitchers are babies nowadays.
Oh,
well, guess what? This is why you have so many Tommy Johns. I'm a big believer. And everybody wants to shut it down. Oh, I can only throw this many pitches. Hey, get that arm loose, man.
Right.
Get it. If you stretch it right and you take care of the arm, you can be okay. I think weightlifting has a lot to do with it. Overly lifting.
Oh, yeah.
And guys getting a little too bulky or different things like that and putting more strain because now you're ripping your muscles.
Well, that's what
all that
kid,
plays in. I'm not a doctor.
No, there's a kid I know, my friend that plays for the Cardinals, his younger brother is actually a projected 6th-round pick this year. He has a full ride to Kentucky and all, and I was talking to him because, he didn't wrestle this year. He's a really good wrestler. And I was like, you're looking a little skinny. What's going on? Scouts told me I'm not allowed to get any bigger.
There you go. I mean,
I think that's a lot of truth to that.
All right, but you look back in the day and you look at a guy like Steve Carlton with all the innings he threw. You know what Steve Carlton did? He did yoga and drank wine. You look at a guy like Kurt Schilling and all the innings that guy
Friday
threw.
Night.
Kurt Schilling wasn't a workout warrior. I mean,
he's a keyboard warrior.
Yeah, but I mean, now he is. But I mean, it's the thing. It's Tommy, to your point, it's just the evolution of the athlete. But for me, when you're a pitcher,
it's different.
I don't care if you're 275 pounds out on the mound. If you got enough stamina and you got stuff to go 8, I don't care what you look like in your damn uniform. But if you're an Adonis and you're going 3 2/3, you ain't doing anything for me.
That's true. You listen, like we talked about, you could look like
Bartolo.
You can look like Bartolo.
It is a perfect example.
If you get it done,
he looks like a baseball.
You don't have to, look like a monster out there. You don't have to be Barry Bonds size on a mound. Okay, right. You got to be able to hit your spots. And if you got a live arm, you got a live arm.
Right.
Okay, it's not you pumping weight isn't going to get your arm more lively, in my opinion. If you got the arm, you got the arm. Now, can you maybe add a mile or two? But that's why they have strength programs for your arm and not as much as the weightlifting thing. Right. You look at a guy
more
here,
probably like band work and all that.
Yeah, there's tons of programs. I mean, they're crazy. Heavy balls. I'm a big believer, in heavier ounce balls and doing that. Dominican players swear by in the off season. Chapman's a big believer. He throws a lot of heavy balls throughout. Like he'll long toss with a heavy ball.
Right.
A lot of Dominican pitchers do it where they don't really shut it down. They just continue to build it and maintain it. If that makes sense, because I think that shutdown is a disadvantage to your arm. Like I don't want to go out and throw 100 pitches with a heavy ball, but I want to stay active if that's the right. If that makes sense to you. I don't want to shut it down. Now if I can use that all season to then strengthen that arm. So when I don't need to pick up a baseball, period. I can do everything with heavies, and I just strengthen. And I don't shut it down.
Well, I mean, you watch any spring training game, and towards the end of the spring training game, you always see the pitchers running their poles in the outfield. And to people who don't know what that means, it means you start at the left field foul pole, and you run around the warning track to the right field foul pole. You turn around, you go back. That's one. These guys run 10 poles after every spring training game, and it's always been with pitchers there's the joke about it in there was it God, why am I blanking on the name of the movie? But the kid who was the pitcher's got a big butt. Well,
Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year. All pitchers have big butts. You're supposed to. Every pitcher who's been anything in Major League Baseball has big thighs and a big ass, and typically has a big arm that goes with it. But when I say big arm, I'm not talking like big arm. I'm talking big arm. Like it's just it really is a different mindset and a different training regimen to train to be a pitcher than it is to be a position player.
No question about it. And it's also a little easier to get to the show if you got an arm.
Yeah.
Too. So both things.
So do we want to give our meaningful predictions on the Phillies record here?
Yeah,
or
let's
you
do
got
it.
You got another direction you want to go?
No, go ahead. Let's go.
Sean?
See, this is tough. I feel like I'm a Debbie Downer, but no. Let's
get off the 90 thing because I don't want that to be like ingrained in your head when you start this process.
My realistic expectations for this team would be 70 to 500.
Okay, so you're going anywhere from 70 to 81.
Yes.
All right. Robbie, you want to chime in?
0-62.
You might want to turn that on one time. With the caveat that you are a Mets fan, you still know the NL East like the back of your hand. So
I'm not going to give you an answer when you talk to me like that.
Ah.
Fuck yourself.
Oh, hey.
hey,
Realistically, 72,
okay.
71. I mean, it's right there. I mean, I don't think it's going to be less than that. I think the Marlins take a step back because you don't replace Jose Fernandez. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's going to set that club back a decade.
Yeah.
You know, the Braves.
Think?
Yeah.
I think they're so young, and like you know how I feel about that outfield. Now,
Yeah.
in terms of their staff, we can maybe say that it's going to set them back because there's no question in that. It's
Right.
definitely going to set them back. But in terms of that roster, if healthy, like if Stan, Ozuna, and Yelich are all healthy,
And D. Gordon.
and it's a real good baseball team. But that being said, I feel like I've been saying that for years.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it. Obviously, a loss to him is
Right.
It hurts them big time. For right this second, but I still
Well,
think
I
Maybe
think
they
the-
can
I
make
think-
up for it offensively and change up the dynamic of their team because where they were trending towards was, a team strong in pitching. But I just think that either way, that's good for the both of us.
Yeah.
I mean,
agree.
And I'm just like trying to be like a sports fan about it. I'm taking
Yeah,
away
yeah,
the
yeah.
human
And I think
factor out of it.
I think you hit the nail right on the head, though. I do feel like the Marlins take a step back because, number one, that ballpark was built for pitching. Even with Giancarlo Stanton playing his home games in that ballpark, it's not a hitter's park. And I do think there's a bit of a hangover effect to losing Jose Fernandez. I feel like what you're looking at is you're looking at an NL East that's basically cut into three pieces. You got your Mets and Nationals at 1-2. For me, you then have the Phillies at 3, and then you have the Marlins and Braves at 4-5. Now, could the Braves actually take a step up, especially moving into the new ballpark? Maybe, but their pitching staff doesn't really do anything for me after Julio Teheran. I mean, Dansby Swanson, love them. They still have Freddie Freeman, Matt Kemp,
Went out and got Phillips.
Ender Inciarte, Phillips. Their lineup 1 through 8 could seriously do some damage, but their pitching staff doesn't do much for me.
They have two former flunkies from us, with R.A. Dickey and
Bartolo.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to speak ill of Bartolo, a bit
No,
sexy,
I got you. But for me,
He got paid.
Yeah, he did.
he did. I'm actually going 82 and 80, third place. 2 games over.
I would love that. To me, that would be.
That's a wildly successful season.
That's what I'm going to say. That's definitely exceeding expectations.
Yeah.
It's got to be because Pete McCannon came out and said
He's looking for
it's a
500.
500 ball. Yeah.
It could
Rob,
be possible.
to
It's all about Nola.
Yeah.
I mean, if Nola comes out and pitches like the ace that he can be, I could see that.
Rob, in terms of their staff, back to the Marlins for a second. In terms of their staff, now what's on their big league roster, it definitely setting them back. Mm-hmm. I mean, Volquez is a guy.
Just a guy.
Straley's just a guy. Kohler. I mean, Conley's probably your most upside and the only guy who's under 28 on your staff. I mean, so depending on what they have in their system, and I'm sure they got arms.
What are they rolling out there as their number 5? Wei-Yin Chen?
Chen's actually listed as their 4, but it'll probably be
Okay.
their 5.
Right. I mean, from doing research for my Dynasty League, no Marlins pitchers popping up. That's the thing that I'm saying is they had all their eggs in their basket, with Jose. And I just – can they recover from it? They can offensively and by changing up the dynamic of their team, but it's going to set their pitching back.
It is. Now, it depends on what they have down there. But in my opinion, and you can make a case for Pittsburgh, and I'll put them right in there, but Miami and Pittsburgh are the 2 best outfields in all baseball. And I've had this argument, and people can argue with me all day. I'll take Stanton every day and twice on Sunday over Bryce Harper. Every day and twice on Sunday. Because if he's healthy, you know who Giancarlo is. You just know. Bryce Harper, he's healthy. You still don't know who he is.
Right.
And I got a text today. We said 8 bombs in the spring, and I said now we're
And he
counting.
did that
Now
too.
we're counting spring training ball.
He did that 2 years ago too.
And my point was that being I ripped him, we'll probably come out and hit 50. That's how my life works.
Actually, while we're talking about that, though, I got the ridiculous stat of the day for you guys, and this is unbelievable. So last year, there were 112 players in Major League Baseball that hit 20-plus home runs. 2 of them are not on Major League rosters this year. Can you name them?
Ryan Howard.
Mm-hmm.
David Ortiz.
David Ortiz,
David
yep.
Ortiz, yeah.
And Ortiz retired. So Ryan Howard, who is not retired, who hit, 23 homers last year, still no shot. Unbelievable.
Playing half the time, too.
Yeah.
It really amazes me that, and not because I'm a Howard guy, it just amazes me that he didn't catch on somewhere in the AL. And even an NL team. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's just that.
Especially because he showed he's a high character enough guy to be willing to be your Sunday.
Yeah.
Like Oakland's not Oaktown, not even calling out for him.
That's what I mean. It's unbelievable.
Sell a ticket or two.
Yeah, well, I mean, they got this kid Ron Healy, who they like a lot. But he could play third, and you could DH Ryan Howard.
Yeah.
Listen, we started talking about predictions, right?
I will. Hold on one
Go
second.
ahead.
I would love it if Ryan Howard went to Japan and hit like 55 homers. just to shove it up everyone's ass.
Or Korea, because that's where they all go.
There you go.
Yeah, go with Ruff. Him and Ruff will go play.
Yeah, there you
Ruff,
go.
Ruff's already over in
In the
Japan.
KBO,
Is
yeah.
Ashley over there, too?
He probably is. He's probably living with Ruff.
The Shanghai Phillies.
Ashley's going to be the DH for the Chicago White Sox.
Well, there you go. Ryan Howard's a free agent. Cody Ashley's a DH.
Cody Ashley, they bring in as a left-handed stick to DH.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
The hell's this world coming
Fire
to?
that GM, please. So my prediction. All right.
Pain.
I love Jared Eichhoff. I think Jared Eichhoff takes another big step forward this year.
Bulldog.
All right. You have 2 veteran arms on your staff that I think, help out your kids a little bit. Buckholtz going out of the stretch, I think will have a surprising year. I think he might surprise some people out of the stretch. That's his own adjustments that he made in Boston. Had a good month of September doing it. Hopefully that carries a little bit.
Here's the problem with him, though. It'll be 10 p.m. in the 4th inning in every one of his starts.
Oh, yeah. For you guys who like quick games.
Don't go to a Buckholtz start.
Don't go to a Buckholtz start. But I really believe Eichhoff has a big year. I think he becomes the ace of his staff if he wasn't already. And I think he takes that step forward. Now, who is Aaron Noel? We're going to find out. But I look around. I look at Herrera. I believe a step forward. You have to, but I believe that he takes another step forward. I think the kid can just hit. Franco, a little bit of plate discipline has to be taken care of. No question about it, but his numbers have to go up. Tommy Joseph, same factor. I'm going to say 84 wins. I'll say 84. And that's what them things going good. Now, I'm going to be optimistic, and hopefully we take another step forward. We talked about how do you find 12 extra wins? Would they win 72 last year?
Yeah.
Well, you can start by not getting
12?
swept by the shitty Reds to start the year.
Yep. But you start by look at staffs. Look at Miami staff, okay? Well, we just looked at, and look at the Philly staff. Whose staff's better? I don't think it's even a question. So that's a help, right? You hope you match up good in them
You
series.
probably have a better rotation than the Braves, to Mike's point.
That's a close one. That's close. Just
The Braves have veterans, though, and they'll know how to get it done.
Yeah, like Julio just finds ways to pitch. He always does. Bartolo, same thing.
R.A. Dickey. I mean, they're guys that could get hit around. They're also guys that could win games. It's like I said, their staff doesn't do anything for me, but I also wouldn't be surprised if
a Scherzer,
they put it together.
A Scherzer and a Strasburg, miss, say, 2 months of baseball, right? And the Mets staff with their arm fun issues. Yeah, everybody's always getting a knife on their arm over there. So like nobody stops getting the knife. Everybody's getting dug into over there.
That's why we got 7 starters.
I know.
Well, I was funny because I was just going to say that, but the Mets have like 12 starters.
They do have 12 starters. It's ridiculous.
Montero's had a hell of a spring too. Looking back, like we thought this kid was going to be.
Seth Lugo and Robert Gelman, and you got guys coming out the wazoo up there.
I think it would just be fun to go to the All-Star break competing. I think that's his team's goal this year. Get to the break just in a hunt. And if that's that last wild card hunting, so be it. That's why baseball's
But
great.
the thing is, I think if they go to the break in the hunt, I think the second half of the year is going to be fun to watch, but you're going to see the team fall because that tells me a lot of people are having good years, and you're going to see guys like Buckles going, Hellickson going, Saunders going.
But I'd be okay with that.
You think he sells it all?
Well, that brings another question though. Is that would a successful season be if you got to the point where you legitimately had to ask, are they buyers or sellers?
Yep. That's a success.
But
if they're buyers, if you're going to the deadline and you can say, well, they're in a spot to buy because they're successful,
then that's a huge success.
Then that's a huge.
Well,
success.
here's my question to you: if say they're within contention, what you consider contention, at the break, but they get offers for guys like Buckles. Would you rather them sell to see the kids but fall out of contention, or would you rather them try to make that playoff push?
I got even a bigger one for you.
How close?
You bring the kids up.
How close do you?
Oh yeah, no. I bring the kids up and then say, hey, I bring them all in.
Yeah.
I bring them all in. And I say, listen, go to work.
Go win it.
This. We build it for you to come on up. It's built. Go to work.
Go win it.
And guess what? If they don't, guess how important that experience is. Period.
Yep.
Period. This is why I want these kids up now, because I want them all playing together. Now, listen, next year I won't be like this about this year. Just like every year passes, and you're like, okay, it wasn't a big deal that they weren't up. This year, I'm going to give Matt Quintac, like we said, he's a big unknown. Big unknown asterisk next to Matt Quintac, we just don't know. But I'm giving this guy an A in terms of I believe he knows what he's doing. That's a big. Because for you to swap out and make this in a year you taking over, you turned into a major league roster, kudos from me, man. Kudos from me, because that's not easy to do. It's not easy to get Michael Saunders to come to Philly.
Right.
I mean, I know the guy's just essentially a guy. I know he's
coming off an all-star berth, though,
but
yeah.
you know, I'm sure there's probably other offers out. But if I'm Michael Saunders and I'm Michael Saunders' agent, I say go to Citizen Bank and hit some balls out.
Yeah.
Easy to write, all right, and you'll get another deal.
Well, and
Exactly.
let's also not forget too. And I know, for me, I'm probably a much more of a buy-in on this than you guys are. But this is a team last year who had 3 out of the top 6 teams in all of minor league baseball, and the best cumulative record in all of minor league baseball. So the talent is coming, and we know it's coming.
Yeah, but to your point about selling, right? Why I don't need any more. I don't need any more in my system. That's the only reason. It's like
True.
I almost just
Yeah.
say I'll just cut him at the break.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't know where to fill.
Right.
I mean, I'm filled out. I have no room for anybody. We can offer me outfielders. I got $200 million. You know, the only thing I'm looking for then is arms, because the more the merrier.
Right.
When you look at arms, because you just don't know. Like, this is what's great about baseball and prospects, and this is why we say, hey, I'll trade 10 for 1 for Mike Trout right now, is because you're going to have this. How it's going to work. A guy, hypothetically, J.P. Crawford, or just say Noah, right? He's projected, you know, at the time, top guy in your organization, right? You're going to have guys like that fail, and you're going to have guys like your Eichhoffs, right? Like your Kingeries, maybe, or like your Stasis.
Well, I was going to say,
late-round picks that develop in the baseball players.
You've got 2 examples on your major league roster this year. It's like you've got a kid in Reese Hoskins who is probably going to wind up starting the year at AAA, but you have no idea when he's going to get to the show because you've got Tommy Joseph and Brock Stassi blocking him, and both of those guys are surprises. So let's say, you know, the scenario comes up where you want to move one of those guys to bring up Hoskins, and then all of a sudden, well, you can't trade Tommy Joseph. He's such a great surprise, but he's blocking your kid who just hit 42 homers in the minor leagues 2 years ago. Like that to me is a great problem to have, and that's what this team is turning into.
Because you can flip either one.
Where you got guys blocked. Not necessarily by veterans, but by other young players with talent, even if those guys are surprises.
Because it opens you up when you talk about being a buyer, where
Right.
you got a couple options. You can buy off of some major league guys that bring up kids, or you can just sell kids off to buy. So
Yeah.
I mean, you have a lot of options. Like
See,
you said,
but my
it's not like you
only
have,
thing-
it's not like you have veterans in these spots that are
Right.
blocking. Besides, like, you know, Saunders and Kendrick for a year are going to block.
My
but
only
that's
thing
it.
with that is, with that problem, I would want you to figure out what you want to do sooner rather than later.
Right.
So the whole Ryan Howard situation doesn't happen again.
Agreed. I'm 100% on board with that.
Me too. Are we going to do Sixers?
Well, what do we got?
11-13?
Yes or no?
I don't care.
We got what? 2? What is it? 2 minutes? Robbie, what's our count looking like over there for 11:15?
We got a minute. Yeah, if you want to get off 11:15, there's a minute.
All right, so yes or no, should they tank out the rest of the year?
Absolutely. What the hell do you gain by winning?
Tommy?
What do you gain by any of it? I just next year, if I hear draft talk or anything else, I'm done. But yes,
Well, that's what I'm going to say.
But yes, continue just to lose.
0-9, but that's it.
That's it.
All right, see, now, I was the guy who said, oh, don't worry about it if they keep winning because they get to trade picks with the Kings. You know what? I don't care. Lose out.
I want them all.
Yeah.
I want them all.
I want every one of them.
Yep.
Every one of them.
I want the Lakers to
And
get
to go 9-0, and the Sixers go 0-9.
Okay, we got to stretch at 5. We missed the mark.
I think so.
You don't have to, you can do whatever you want. I'll make it work.
You could do whatever you like.
Hey, that's why the
No,
best
but
in the
I mean,
business.
no, we'll take it out. But in all seriousness, like for me, the more I started thinking about it, the more I was like, you know what? I'm real happy with what they did, and I love the flashes. But Sean, to your earlier point, like I would love to see them play 8 tight games the rest of the. Well, I guess now it's 7 tight games the rest of the way, and lose all 7 of them. They beat Brooklyn last night. They lost to Atlanta tonight. They got 7 games left. Just play 7 good games. I don't want you to win.
Right.
Them.
I want to see Dario continue to do what he's been doing. TJ continue to do what you're doing. Luau Cabaret has been playing pretty good. Justin Anderson looks like he was a steal.
Here's where I'm going to go with this. Is I'm going to give you the tank, but don't tank. Get minutes for Sean Long. Get minutes for Justin Anderson.
Oh, what a surprise Sean Long has been.
Right.
Too, by the way.
See what you actually have.
Somebody's got to score.
Yeah. See what you actually have in Tiago Splitter.
He's more expendable than
Try some different combinations on the floor, and actually see where guys may fit next year. When you have Ben Simmons, a healthy JoJo, a healthy Ja, and
maybe a Jared Bayless back.
maybe
next
a Jared,
year.
and figure it out now. And if you win, if you lose, so what? Because you know in the back of your mind all that's doing is increasing your lottery odds.
Yeah, and it's the last year I want to talk about lottery too.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed.
I thought
I'm
this
with
year
you.
was the last year.
Because to your point, like you talk about Sean Long and other guys, but this is the issue we ran into before. I mean, when it is a bad basketball team, somebody's got to score. Somebody's got to get a rebound.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to have stats. You know what I'm saying? And I think what I've learned through being in Sixers groups and talking to more fans from all over is that we overvalue that. In a way, where it's like, well, okay, if the guy's playing 20 minutes a night, he's going to score. Like, somebody's got to score on this team. Like, you know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I overvalue Dario like that, but I can sit here and say the one guy that you could say is officially part of this future on this roster that's playing is Dario. The rest, you could all make cases.
Until Furkan's ready.
You know what I mean, though? But all of them, you can make cases that where do they fit here?
Right.
Every one of them. I know people like TJ, people like Justin Anderson, people like other guys. I understand that, but there's one guy that's playing right now that you can actually say
Is a lock.
Is a lock to be on this team 5-10 years down the road. So that's what we got to end. I need 4 or 5 guys to say these guys are locks. This is what we need to get to.
Right.
We got to get away from the Michael Carter Williams numbers
Yeah.
that were lie numbers to us and hollow because we stunk. We weren't good. We lost games, but.
And his rookie class was garbage.
Yeah, somebody's going to score. Like for TJ, I think TJ's a tough-nosed point guard. I would love him to be your second or third point guard. But as a starter, of course he's going to have of course he's going to have assists. Of course he's going to score points.
Right.
It's all part of
Well,
playing.
Steve Nash actually said today, I seen it on Twitter, he got interviewed about the Sixers or whatever, and he came out and said TJ McConnell is everything you want in a backup point guard.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I like that. All right, for another edition of Tom,
Mike,
AM,
in the PM.
HUDRadio.com. I'd like to thank all our Wednesday night sponsors, all HUD radio sponsors. Our Wednesday night sponsor, Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Make them yours. Find them on the web, GibsonMayer.com. I'd like to thank BMW of Atlantic City. We're off exit 17 in the Parkway. Online, BMWofAtlanticCity.com. The Soap Stash, the new soap standard. Soap Stash LLC on Facebook, or find them on the web, SoapStash.com. Scanzano Sports. ScanzanoSports.com, Sports Outlet Inc., SportsOutletInc.com, right in Glendora, New Jersey, for all your sporting needs. For Tom Arnone, Michael Mataraki, Sean Redden, Rob Povey on the 1s and 2s. Another edition of Tom,
Mike,
AM and the PM, HUDRadio.com.
Stole his thunder.
I didn't think he wanted to do it again, so I was just, Tom,
You caught me off guard.
Tom,
Get out of here.
Oh, he sent you to the
We're
minor
out.
league camp.
I did. Then go win 100 in AAA.
I'm gonna.
We're out. Go Phils.